Hello students, welcome to this session of MGM Educations. Now we are going to study about a lesson of alternative English, that is No Learning Without Feeling, written by Claire Needell Hollander, right? An English teacher in the public middle school in New York, USA. What she want to say in this lesson or this essay? In this essay, she is telling about the role or the importance of feeling, that is the emotional feeling which should pass from student to teacher or teacher to student is very essential. Yes, while learning language skills and critical thinking skill, we must put more focus on this. Otherwise, the learning process may not be fruitful. So she says that she has developed this curriculum and known as Common Core Standard State Standards, Common Core State Standards. This is called CCSS, which has been adopted by around 45 states of United States of America. The aim of this is comprehensive set or series of recommendation is to stress only hard subjects and to discourage any subjectivity in learning process, right? So there are some positive and negative effect which has been discussed here, but we will focus on the positive aspects of this thing. How does it helps to the educational institutions, right? Let us begin. Are the main focus points of the essay No Learning Without Feeling. Here she says about the pitfalls of the common course standardizing approach rings true of the communication skill centered approach being emphasized in the Indian context at the moment, right? Literature is de-emphasized, means emphasis is decreasing day by day to an even greater degree in English curriculum of technical and professional colleges, leading to emotional poverty, माने emotion टा बहुत कम रोज, and illiteracy that Hollander has sharply criticized in this lesson. So she begins the lesson with a reference to poem, that is the Very Blues, written by Longstone Hughes. Okay, so it's something like this. See, I am reading the lines of the text. It is sad, the kid at the far table, means sitting away from me, told me. What's he told or he told? It's my favorite poem we work upon. He was talking about the Very Blues by Longstone Hughes. And although his emotional language was rudimentary means primary, right? And his response was authentic. Kintu tar response thila authentic, real, vidhibodha, I mean jukti. So we should read literature that makes us sad. Oh, then I asked, that boy laughed. Well, sadness, Miss Hollander, is something people pretty much feel every day. Again in the poem we have to collect the sadness. He looked up at me and smiled. The connection was obvious to him. Then Hollander is saying, I liked it when my students cry, when they read with interest and with a purpose in their mind, and when the project of making meaning becomes personal. She says that my middle school students turn again and again to highly charged young adult novels, the poems, the stories they receive enthusiastically are the one that pack the most emotional punch. Means they like the poems and the stories which must have emotional punch, means a emotional twist, right? Just as the teens, means the youngers, like to take physical risks, they are driven to take the emotional risks. For teacher, emotion is our lever, she says, and she also says that the tiny mind is our stone. Means let us suppose a stone is there, we have to grave a statue from there. Similarly, we are making the students as a teachers, and emotion here plays a very important role, right? What she like to say. Put another way, emotion is the teacher's entry point for literary exploration and for the development of the high level skill outlined or noted in the Common Core State Standards, she says, that has been adopted in USA schools. But she has a complaint. She says that unfortunately the authors of the standards are not particularly interested in the emotional risk. ସେମାନେ ଇମୋସନାଲ୍ ରିସ୍କକୁ ଇଣ୍ଟରେଷ୍ଟ ନେବା ଚାହୁଁନାହାନ୍ତି, CCSSର ଯେଉଁମାନେ ଫଲୋ କରୁଛନ୍ତି। Taking about rather in the avoidance of the political risk, it is a rather bloodless effort ବୋଲି ସେ ତାକୁ କ୍ରିଟିସାଇଜ୍ କରୁଛନ୍ତି, right? Argument on the skills. American school children need to learn to read and write is much easier to arrive at than agreement on what they should read or write. For this reason, the Common Core list of the text exemplar of English at each grade level is slender. Slender means narrow, slim, you can say like this. A few lines in the appendix and center of the shape choice, like Little Women, a novel dismissed a moral pup by its author more than a century ago. The authors of this standard itemized skill required for reading and writing at each grade level, But this is so much fine print that even the young teachers I know now need reading glasses. Then she says, I spend hours with my teachers, geek colleagues, poring over the distinctions between the Common Core grade level skills and have little practical import in the classroom. She has had this comparison between the Common Core grade level and that of the classroom, her classroom. As one of my colleagues pointed out, it is more of a challenge to avoid teaching the skills enumerated in the standards than it is to be certain you are covering them all. Language skills as we define them are useful fictions. Fictions means false presentations. Many types of knowledge and cognitive functionings, right, are embodied in every skill area, and many, if not all, some of them of the standards merely translate the obvious requirements of English work into wordy abstractions. What does it really mean is that analyze the impact of the author's choice. What else is there? Yeah, and a real checklist of all that is involved in the act of reading would border on the absurd. Absurd means ridiculous, laughable. What to say? The truth is that high-stakes standardized tests in combination with the skill-based orientation of Common Core State Standards, these standards they are de-emphasizing literature in English classroom in favor of agonetic texts, right? So, what is this agonetic text? It's more or less said to be the neutral text, right, with regard to the student's interest, so that outside variables won't interfere when teacher assess and analyze data relating to verbal ability. To put it in a different way, they are texts no child would choose to read on his and her own interest. There are hundreds of profit and non-profit providers of agnostic texts sorted by the grade level being used in English classrooms across the country. There is also a lot of discussions among the teachers over whether the lesson align well with the new standards or not. But less discussions regarding which texts are being chosen for the students to read and why. They care less on this. So here what happens, the students with their curiosity, sadness, confusion, the knowledge deficits means reduces. So they are on the receiving end of the lessons planned for a language skill learning abstraction. ପିଲାମାନେ ଏଠି agnostic text ବୋଲେ ସେ text which doesn't affect a reader, okay, at a personal level. It has been described as a neutral text. अर्थ कौन जे जो टेक्स्ट पिला पढ़े किंतु तार माइंड रे सेटा किछि इफेक्ट पकाइबनी कहीं ना से फीलिंग्स नथिबो. अरे रीडिंग रे जतबे फीलिंग्स आसीबो सेतबेले कौन होबो ना से कॉन्सेप्टटा से पिला ठीक से रिसीव करि पारिबो. एथि पई ऑथर आइ ऊपर एसेइस्ट आइ ऊपर बहुत गुरुत्व दैचंती. जेमति कि हम कहूचे आईज आर विंडो टू हार्ट, नहीं सेम सिमती आईज माध्यम टीचर टीचिंग देला बेले स्टूडेंट्स को फीलिंग्स समान पास होवा. नेक्स्ट पॉइंट रे से आइटमाइजेशन ऑफ स्किल इन कॉमन कोर ऊपर फोकस करचंती. से कहउचंती न्यू टीचर्स मे फील सो दैट दे much time they divert on the itemization of skills in the literature. So they will depend on prepared materials to ensure their students getting the proper allotment of practice in answering common core aligned questions like analyze the drama or poem, the structure like this. So here she raises some question. Does good literary analysis even answer such questions? Does it pose them? And so on. Language may compose who we are as much as we compose it. Language teaching therefore is different from other teachings or teaching of other subjects. Therefore she says that the English curriculum, right, must be well designed in such a way that it must touch to the emotions, or else the communication system will disrupt it. If it is disrupted, then this type of reading or learning will go in vain. So she expresses like this: my fear is that we cannot reckon with the difficult truths of real work of art, that the disturbance we feel when reading. Then she referred to Color Purple, a novel written by Alice Walkers, an Africa and American, novelist, she is, or writer, you can say, who portrayed this in race relations existing in American societies and showed how women as the worst victim of the racist and male-dominated society, right? And this has been shooted in some film also. by taking the topic. So here, my suspicious is that, your essay says, my suspicion is that the common core enumerates skill and not books, because as a country we still feel that real works of art are too divisive. Yeah, it is more comfortable to remain agnostic, or to permit our teens, means youngers, to remain an education product or consumer group, right? It may not help the students to receive the education in right way. Then she says, there are no agnostic texts on college campuses, but text dense with philosophical, psychological and moral meaning. There are no state tests for college students. It is time to align our education system with college, which demands by opening a real discussion about what teens should read in middle school and high school. So here she tells us about the college syllabus or study materials of literature and middle and high school. Right? Put this way, it sounds clear, but it is not what we are doing. Skill-based standard ignores the basic facts that language learning must occur in meaningful context, what she says is. And the basis, regarding the basis of the higher level learning of philosophy, psychology, you say, or literature or political science, it is that are not so much emotion guided. Okay? If we leave them out of the picture, reading is blood of much of its purpose. See, the blood of much of its purpose implies this is rich and evocative expression that dresses the dull and empty nature of reading experience. Means it is like a soulless reading. In her language, she says it is soul communion is not possible. It's only superficial communication, what she says. Therefore, she says, while dealing with the teens, the learning process must be guided by, feeling. Yeah, emotional feeling, she says about. So, she rejected those texts which are emotion drenched, means less material, she says. So, what we learned from this lesson, really, what she and Hollanders like to send a message to the students through this text is that we in education or in communication, to make the words alive, feeling is highly essential. A feelless talk is just like a dead body speaking to you, and you won't feel enjoyable to spend your time either in learning or reading or talking. That's what she wants to tell you through this. It was his own experiment and her feelings as a professional teacher of American schools. Okay, students, the lesson is all about this, the role of emotions in literature. Okay, thank you very much, students. Thank you very much for listening. In the next video, I will come with a new lesson. So please like and subscribe so that you can get all the videos relating to your lessons, alternative English. Thank you very much again.